Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get in every way. Right for the two in the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, Rayne Fernandez.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
Welcome to Sweep the League. I don't know what we called it. Tuesday Night Delight. We called it the Tuesday Night Delight edition of Sweep the League. We're going to hit all four corners, all four posts of the sports world: NFL, NBA, WNBA, MLB, college football. It's going to be one of those shows where it's just a grab bag full of stuff. Whatever comes up, we're going to talk about. Also, we'll make an announcement here in a little bit for our guest tomorrow. We pretty much have confirmation for our guest tomorrow, so we'll make that announcement now. So we'll get Derek Irvin, who's going to be joining me tonight, Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. So we'll see if Coach Gio pops into the chat today or onto the stream. But nonetheless, I don't want to get this show running any later. Let's get him onto the show. It is future Hall of Famer, a week away, I think, or a week and a few days away from entering UTSA's Hall of Fame. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. Derek, man, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, my man. Sitting here watching the Lynx finish off Connecticut, but I got to give Connecticut some credit for fighting to the end. So, yeah, I'm doing fine watching some basketball.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny. I was on high on the Aces over the Liberty, but obviously that didn't happen. But it looks like the two best teams, the Liberty and the Lynx, are going to go at it with a preview coming up for the WNBA Finals. How do you feel it's going to go? Because I mean, the star power is pretty much with Liberty, you would say?
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you even picked the Aces to beat them this year, man. You know, I'm a guy that goes by that particular year. And if you look at it this year, the Aces have been up and down all season. They finished in the perfect position. They were the fourth best team in the league. And now you got the resurgent New York Liberty, and I think Connecticut is they put up a good fight, but I'm going to take the Liberty over Minnesota. My favorite player is Nafisa Collier. I think she's one of the most intelligent, if not the most intelligent player in the league, but I'm going to pick the Liberty. I just think it's their year. 32-8 wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, I don't think it was a fluke at all. The Liberty look like they're on a mission to get a WNBA title, man. I mean, they're looking good right now, and I think, you know, Sabrina had an off game against the Aces where she wasn't really a factor, but she bounced back really, really hot. They're just going to be a tough team to beat. But overall, I think it's going to be a good series.
Let me say this. I don't mean to cut you off. She was a factor. because if you look at it, what I'm saying is it took all their energy. The Connecticut, I'm sorry, when they came up with the game plan, right? The Aces to
Yeah.
stop Ionescu. And that took all the energy, man. So she didn't have a good game scoring wise, and she only got up 7 attempts. But if you look at it the next night, the next two nights later, the Aces had no legs. So her value was very important. It's kind of like taking Steph Curry out the game in the playoff series. You focus so much on him, like you've seen Sacramento try to do. And then they look around later on, you have no legs. And then what does a guy like Steph do in the last game, the elimination game? Goes for 50.
Yeah.
So you're trying to limit him, but you're taking your energy while doing so.
Yeah, true. That's a very good point. I mean, even though she may not be a factor in the scoring column, she's a factor everywhere else on the court. And the Ionescu and Brianna Stewart duo, I mean, to me, that's tough
Best
to
duo
guard.
in the league, man.
Best duo in the league. So you're going Liberty. I could be
Four.
that guy that just says the Lynx just to kind of be different. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Liberty. The Liberty.
The Lynx are a very disciplined team. They have the coach of the year, Cheryl Reeves. Not Reeves. Reeve. And they play a very disciplined brand of basketball. The only reason I'm picking them to lose is because I think the Liberty has a height advantage. And I've watched this series here with Connecticut. Minnesota has kind of struggled on the defensive backboard sometime, and they've struggled on the offensive backboard. And I'm looking at Brianna Stewart being 6'4". We know last year's MVP. And then Jonquel Jones, 6'6", who was also a previous MVP. And I think their size is the reason I'm picking them. It's not because I really think they're a better team as far as moving the ball and all that. I just think the size is going to be a little too much for Minnesota.
You think this is a series? Now, Minnesota drafted Alyssa Peely out of Utah this past year. Do you think this is a series with the Liberty that you're going to probably see her on the court to just kind of be a little tough on the size for New York? Because she's not getting a lot of run this year. Obviously, she's a rookie. Minnesota has their rotation. Totally understand it. But in this series right here, being the WNBA Finals, Alyssa Peely has to have some kind of role possibly, right?
Yeah, you have to. It's kind of like if you look at the NBA, teams like the Timberwolves, right? You got guys like that playing against Dallas. So Dallas had to put some more size on the floor. I like guys like P.J. Washington or whatever, but they had to go to guys like Maxie Kleber, Derek Lively, those guys, Gafford. Even if, say, they didn't want to play Gafford as much, they had to go to him to try to match up size-wise so that they could, get the rebounds. And the rebounds, as you know, on both sides of the floor are very important. So I could see that young lady playing because they're definitely going to need her size. There's no doubt in my mind.
There is no doubt. I think Alyssa Peely, she's going to be some kind of factor. They should try to get her into the game with her inside presence. She can make it a little tough for Brianna Stewart on the boards. I mean, I think you may see her play a little bit of the WNBA Finals. They may utilize her here. One more note: this is not WNBA news, Derek. This is actually out of college, but very, very good thing to happen for the. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry, breaking the news here. USC sophomore phenom Juju Watkins agreed on a multi-year contract extension with Nike that will give her one of the richest shoe endorsement deals in women's basketball history. I mean, if there's a player that you definitely want to be tied to right now, Juju Watkins is probably that player in college outside of Paige Beckers as well. But, I mean, nonetheless, bravo for Nike. They got a good one right there with Juju.
I got to give a shout out to Caitlin because I really believe this doesn't happen without the Caitlin Clark notoriety and her getting the big deal. She's paved the way, whether you like her or hate her. Or I won't say hate her because this is just a game. But if you dislike the way she plays or whatever it may be, she set the standard. And I'm glad to see these young ladies flying on chartered flights now. And now they're getting these shoe deals that we've already thought they deserved. Man, they've been underpaid so many years. And this is changing of the guard, I'll say. And I'm happy to see these ladies continue to get paid, make up for the money that they deserved years ago.
Yeah, no kidding. Great deal for Nike with Juju Watkins. It's going to be a great, and we've already said they've got 2 expansion teams coming into the WNBA. The league's growing where everybody figured, well, the league was hot in the beginning and then it's gone downhill because there was no support. You've seen teams change. You saw Utah come to San Antonio, then go to Las Vegas. There was just no consistency. Now you're seeing expansion. So hopefully the league does get better. The pay scale should get better. I know they've got that new TV deal. A lot of it, yes, you can point to Caitlin. I mean, she had a lot to do with a lot of stuff that's going on, but also, like we've mentioned before, the new crop of WNBA players coming in from college is going to help even more. Like we talked about, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. You have Cameron Brink. I mean, she was injured. I mean, she got injured early, but you've got her as well. You've got Juju Watkins, Paige coming in. You've got Nafisa Collier. You got a lot of great women playing the game right now. It's going to just continue, man.
Cameron Brink is Rudy Gobert with some skill.
Oh yeah, with an offensive repertoire.
I was so sad when she got hurt because watching her in college at Stanford, just a really good player, a very intelligent player, and to see her go down, you see how important she was to the LA team. It cost the coach their job. And I was happy to see Rakia Jackson make the All-NBA, the rookie team. But without Cameron Brink, they were a shell of themselves. So hopefully she'll come back 100%. I think she's very good for the game. And, man, when she gets healthy, I'm telling you now, they talk about Asia Wilson's defense. I think Brink might be even a little more versatile defensively than her.
Yeah, Cameron Brink, I mean, she was my rookie of the year to start, and that's over Caitlin and Angel Reese. I figured she was going to be a rookie to be dealt with, and, you and I had laughed about it because it's Cameron Brink and who I'm trying to remember the other girl that they have there, Rakia Jackson.
Rakia Jackson. Mm-hmm.
And then we talked, well, I mean, they're the worst team in the WNBA. Could they go and get a Paige Beckers? Oh, my God. I mean, then you're talking about that LA Sparks team being one of the top teams pretty dang quick, man.
One of the top. They get her. For me, they start off the next year, 2025, as the favorite to win it all, regardless of what happens with the Liberty. If you add a Paige Beckers or Bukers, however they pronounce it, if you add her to Rakia Jackson and a healthy Cameron Brink, they would be the favorites because they also have some other players that are pretty good on that team. It didn't pan out when you lose your inside presence on the offensive end and the defensive end, Cameron Brink, who can also go out, space the floor by shooting threes, pick and pop or pick and roll. And that hurt their team. It's not that they're a bad team. They just, sometimes when your weapons are taken away, you know what happens. You just don't have those guys, that extra push, I'll say.
Yeah, and that's going to be the cool thing. I mean, I'm excited for the next season already. We're not even done with this season, and I'm ready for next season to come because it was such a great season for the WNBA. Talking to Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Joe is on PTO time again, so I got to look at his hours, Derek. I'm paying the guy for no reason here. I'm paying him for no reason here, but
hopefully he'll be there tomorrow.
Hopefully he'll be on.
We can talk to him. We'll get to that guy.
So we're gonna announce the guest for tomorrow. Just shot off the email, so we're gonna make sure that we've got confirmation. But I'm pretty sure we do. We're gonna announce the guest here in a little bit. But WNBA, we're both going with the New York Liberty to win the WNBA finals this year, become the WNBA champions. Wipe our hands clean. Get ready for next season on the WNBA because it's gonna be a good one. It's going to be a great one, Derek. We're going to move right on from WNBA. We're going to drop the W, and we're going to go straight into the NBA. And we've got a hot topic. We've got a Robert Saleh update later on in the show. NFL talk. We'll get into some NCAA talk, and we're just going to get into whatever else comes up here. Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA. So preseason is kicking off, and last night the San Antonio Spurs played their first preseason game. It was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. As you all know, I mean, the Spurs lost. I mean, come on, it's preseason. You shouldn't overreact on preseason. You didn't have
Rudy, they won by about 30.
Yeah. The Spurs, no,
yeah,
they lost.
No, Spurs won by about 30.
And
they
who's
were losing by 18 early. They won by about 30.
Was I watching the same game as you? Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking, no, I can't. I couldn't have been watching that game. There's no way. Either way, talking Spurs fans, I was talking last night, and I made it very clear. Vegas had the Spurs at 35 wins, and then just recently, I guess Vegas, saw the show sweep the league and said, "Wait a minute, we're going to drop it to 32 wins." I've got them at 30 wins, and we're talking, Derek, to make the playoffs in the Western Conference took 51 wins. To make the play-in game, it took 46 wins to make the play-in game. That's with the Memphis team that was injured. So, teams got good in the West. Obviously, Phoenix got good. Houston's been good. They're improving. Sacramento got DeRozan. They got better. DeJounte Murray's a Pelican, so they got better. I have said on Locked On Spurs with our good friend Jeff Garcia, and I've said on this team, don't be surprised if the Spurs at best are the third worst team in the West, with Utah and Portland being behind them. But I can't even put Utah behind the Spurs. So they may be the second worst team in the West. How true is that statement?
After yesterday, and I have to be clear, Spurs end up winning by 5, but they were up by about 30 points. And, they started off down 18, and then they took over the game. And if you look at it, though, Rudy, they defend. Of course, Keldon Johnson has trimmed down. That was good to see. And they played without a lot of the guys. Of course, Victor didn't suit up. But if you look at their team, no Chris Paul, they really defend, man. And it was impressive. I watched them play against most of the guys that are going to be playing regular minutes. That includes Caruso and Hardenstein and all those guys. And the Spurs were taking them out of their sets. So it was impressive to see. But I look at the roster overall with Harrison Barnes and Chris and whoever. I just think they're in the wrong conference, I'll say. And it's going to be tough, man, because these other teams, like you mentioned, are continuing to get better. You got teams like the Houston Rockets. I might put the Spurs over the Utah Jazz. I think their defense will be better than Utah's. I think they'll get into their sets better because they have a guy like Greg Popovich. But it's going to be hard, man. If they make the play-in, the fans really should be happy. And that should be the goal this year, is for them to even get to that 8th or 9th spot. That, to me, that would be a good season.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on Utah being worse than the Spurs. I kind of have them, bouncing back and forth. Clearly, Portland. I mean, Portland, they're just too young. I don't buy the Portland, team just right now. But, I mean, it's Utah, Portland, and San Antonio in the West. I think it's going to be the bottom 3. And, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People are like, well, they got to be better. Not necessarily. I mean, they're going to be better.
They don't have to be.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. People think that adding Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes automatically puts them at 40 wins.
A 38-year-old Chris Paul, not the 28-year-old Chris Paul, and a 30-something-year-old Harrison Barnes. This is not the Golden State Warriors Harrison Barnes. He's still a very serviceable player on both ends of the floor, but the Spurs have gotten up in age. And then you look at our situation. If, say, Chris Paul were to pull a hamstring or something. We've seen that. I'm not wishing that on him. He's one of my favorite guards of all time, point guards. But if he were to get hurt, now we go to Mr. Jones, who I thought played quite well last night. But you're talking about competing with these teams, and that includes the Nuggets, who are not happy with the way they finished last year.
Yeah.
And Dallas wasn't too happy. So you got some teams that, other than the Spurs, that are kind of not satisfied with where they were last year. Phoenix Suns, another playoff team, ended up a 6th seed. So they know how important it is this year to not be a 6th seed. And you want to be able to get home court advantage. And that's why these guys, the Lakers, Clippers, whoever it may be, are going to be playing for that, like it's their life on the line as well. And that's where I think the Spurs are going to come up short. All these teams are going to be fighting for these spots, and they don't want to be in the play-in games. You see what happened to Golden State.
Yeah.
It takes
exactly.
you when you have to play these play-in games, and especially if you're the 8th, 9th, and 10th team, it's too hard. So I'm hoping the Spurs do well, but it's going to be a rough season.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be another long season. I've been telling people you got to expect another long season. If they win 28 games, which I have them at 30, and I'm giving them 8 games, because there was a lot of games last year where they were leading at the end. They just got turnovers and just couldn't take care of the ball. So, Chris Paul's going to change a little bit of that right there. He's a better point guard than what they had in previous years. He's going to get them from a few more wins. Second-year Victor is going to get them a couple more wins. But for everybody out there thinking it's 20-plus wins, I mean, this isn't – Tim Duncan's not walking through the arena. David Robinson's not walking through the arena. George Gervin's not walking. None of these guys are walking through
Larry
the arena.
Keenan, who I talked to earlier today, Larry Keenan is not walking through that door.
Not at all. So, again, you're going to see improvement. I just don't think it's the leaps and bounds improvement that a lot of people – hell, we could be wrong. They could be the team to beat in the West. I have no idea. But if you're a betting man, chances are a lot of people are. I'm betting that it's still going to be another rough season. 30 wins right there. 8 wins more than what they had.
If they win 35 games, and I'm saying this publicly, if they win 35, that's a win. To me, that's a great season because how many they win last year? 22.
22.
So if you go from 22 to 35, that means you're on an upward trend.
Yeah.
And that's what fans have to realize. Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's what you're looking at now with the Spurs. So any improvement is a good thing, and fans need to understand that. You got to be realistic. And realistic for them is 30 wins, maybe even 35. If they win 35, hell, Victor might be MVP.
Yeah, that would be – I mean, you're talking a 13-game turnaround. That would be pretty impressive right there for the San Antonio Spurs. You're giving them a lot more credit if they do win 35 there. And that's hell, Derek, a successful season for me is 29 30 wins. That's a bonus for me right there. Nonetheless, because it's way above 22 wins. I don't think they're going to go to 22 wins. They're still going to be around the 28, 29 mark win for right there. Jeff Garcia, Locked on Spurs, is asking, will Derek let out his inner geek at Big Texas Comic-Con on Saturday? Are you going to geek out with all of us, Derek?
Hey, man, hell, sometimes you have to get on the bandwagon. Join, you in Rome, do as the Romans do. So I plan on being out there to have fun. I'll tell you that. So we'll see what happens. But right now I'm saying, yes, sir.
We're going to be out there at Big Texas Comic-Con starting Friday. Myself, Shemai, and Derek, we're all three going to be there on Saturday. Shemai and I, and also another special guest, will be there on Sunday as well. Friday, I'll be out there for a little bit on Friday, but again, you're going to catch us all on Saturday. Stop by the Sweep the League table, grab a sticker. We've got about 80 stickers made, so grab a sticker. For those of y'all that want a Derek Gervin autograph before he goes in the Hall of Fame, and then they just go way up in value, you may as well get him now, because once he goes into that Hall of Fame, that's a lot of money to be paying for those Hall of Fame autographs. I'm going to tell you that much right now. Tim Gonzalez in here. Gio needs more NIL money, man. He's basically just wiped all of our money out. You think the WNBA will ever come back to San Antonio? I would say this. I think it would definitely come back to San Antonio, but I'm going to say you probably still have to give the league another 6 to 8 years before we actually see another expansion for the WNBA. I think it could be coming back to San Antonio. It makes a lot of sense. You've got a brand new arena going up for the Spurs. That's bonus right there for any WNBA team looking to expand, maybe looking to move. That's a huge bonus. So I would say give it between 6 to 8 years. Derek, you think the WNBA comes back to San Antonio anytime?
I do. And the reason I say that is because if you look at our track record, Dan Hughes put together a really, I'm not even talking about Becky Hammond. People have to remember Dan Hughes started this. And we had a very, very good team. It wasn't just a run-of-the-mill team. And now with this new gym being built that we're going to be moving the Spurs to be playing in, I think it'll expedite the process, I'll say. I think it'll happen again. And I say in the next 3-4 years, Rudy, it's that long because we deserve women's basketball here. And everybody remember the Stars, and then they became just the silver. Well, they were the Silver Stars, and then they just became the Stars, right?
Yeah, Silver Stars.
Yeah, so we've had people like Margot Dudek down here, 7-footer.
Jennifer Azzi was a player.
It went well. You know, the biggest problem was we didn't have the right facility.
Yeah.
You know, they practiced over at Antioch over on the east side on Walters. But now you got all these different facilities. Even look at UTSA with their facilities and how all these places are upgrading. So, yeah, I say we'll get a team here, and I say we deserve one.
Yeah, WNBA also could be using the Spurs practice facility. It's brand new. So, I mean, you've got everything updated. New arena is going to be going up downtown. It's going to be amazing once everything's all going. When Sports Row basically is going to be brought to San Antonio, talking about, of course, UTSA plays downtown, Spurs going downtown, San Antonio Missions are going downtown. It's going to be the sports district when it comes. So, yeah, Jeff, I definitely think that the WNBA will be coming back. Derek, talking about NBA as well.
Let me say this to you first, Rudy, because I'm kind of confused. Why do people talk like San Antonio is not a hot basketball? It's not a basketball hotbed. The object is to win games, right? It's not about the nightlife. And they also have nightlife here as well. So I'm just trying to figure out why people still act like we back in 1940 or whatever. This is 2024. This has been voted one of the best destinations in the United States. And I don't understand all that crazy talk, man. This is a very good place. And the reason I say that, what happens, Rudy, when players stay here, play here, and then they move somewhere else, like George Hill, etc. Don't they get a place in San Antonio, Texas?
You always come back.
They buy a house here. Manu's still here. Tony's still here. Patty Mills still has some connections here. Lonnie Walker. I mean, these guys love San Antonio. So I don't get it when they talk that nonsense about no one wants to play in San Antonio. I totally disagree.
Yeah, it's because you see a lot of these top stars in the NBA with their nightlife, and they've got to be, you see James Harden in the strip clubs, you see LeBron at these high class dinner places, and I mean, you're right. I think the object of basketball is winning, especially if you're playing in the NBA. If you're getting a really good paycheck and you're getting paid by the Spurs, you know what? There's no nightlife. Doesn't that keep you out of trouble? It keeps you out of the media's eye. I mean, it would be the perfect spot for a lot of these guys. You basically are that blue collar guy. You come in, you do your job, you get paid, and you relax at home. I mean, that's, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu, like you mentioned, George as well. I mean, everybody, all these top guys have stayed in San Antonio for a reason. It's a great town.
Nightlife, though. We have everything that other places have. We don't have casinos like Las Vegas.
Not yet.
Well, we have strip clubs. Hello.
we do.
We have nightclubs. I mean, what more do you need? Do they have to be a certain kind of nightclub? We have everything that these other teams have to offer. It's just
celebrities.
It's the organization it's a disciplined organization. They aren't hanging out. The people in Golden State, the Warriors are getting their rest. The teams that are doing well over the history, they're getting their rest. Milwaukee has places to go, but Giannis and those guys are trying to do what's necessary to win championships. And so nightlife is part of it. You know there's places to party here, man. A person that wants to party can always find somewhere to party. But that's not what the Spurs are about. We're trying to get championship number 6.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Who knows? Everybody says people want to play with Victor. All these top stars, they want to play with Victor. And we're going to see how true that is. The summer of 2025 is a big summer in NBA because you've got a massively good draft class coming in. and you're going to have a lot of top free agents hitting that market. So we're going to really see if we can put a lot of these players' money where their mouth is and see if they do want to come play with Victor Wembanyama. If that's the case, San Antonio is going to be bumping left and right, man. It's going to have everything we can imagine here. He says, Tim saying Derek Irvin, the fans don't support sports here in San Antonio.
Well, they should start. Tim, it's continuing to grow though. And if you look at it, look at the expansion, how it's growing out by UTSA, out 1604-10, and how many places Rudy, in the country have a La Cantera on one side of the highway, and right on the other side you got the Rim. So you got places to go shop, you got places to go eat. We got the what's the little golf thing they got right there?
Top Golf.
You got Top Golf. I mean, you got a variety of things to do. We got golf courses all over the city. Come on, man. I'm from Detroit, a big city. This has become a big city. I mean, it's 2024, man. People better get with it. San Antonio is happening.
It is. It's a growing city. Before we go to our first commercial break, Jeff's in here, Locked On Spurs. Derek, what's your opinion? Is Stephon Castle better at the shooting guard spot or a point guard spot?
I'm going to say shooting guard, and the reason I say that is because it's a rookie, and we looked at as great as Caitlin's going to be. Sometimes it takes getting used to the quickness, the NBA, the pace. Yeah. And I think when you're at the shooting guard, you can relax right away and you can come in and basically be who you want to be. Point guards, you got to learn how to get everybody in the right position. You got to have the right disposition to make sure the guys keep a cool demeanor and all of that. And it puts a lot of pressure on you. And that's where Chris Paul comes in. So you let Chris go ahead and be Chris, and he runs the team basically. And you put Castle at the shooting guard because I think he's going to be a slasher, that kind of player. And I don't want him to have to focus on having to get guys the ball. Just let him play. And that's the kind of player I think he's going to be. You let him be himself. So I say shooting guard.
I really think that he starts the season, since Devin Vassell is pretty much going to be out for the first few games. It wouldn't shock me if Pop puts him at that 2-guard spot alongside Chris Paul. I really feel that's his best position right now, like you mentioned, is shooting guard. So a lineup of Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, and Harrison Barnes are your wings. You can have Victor, and you can throw Jeremy in there if you want. That's fine. I think that 5 is going to be a really good starting 5. I mean, translate to wins, I don't know. But, with Devin out, I think
Keldon off the bench.
Yeah, and what I feel with that, starting Stephon Castle, you get him going early in the season. You get him right off the bat. He plays against the best competition on the other team, the starting 5. I think he's capable of doing that. So that would be my ideal starting 5 for the San Antonio Spurs to start the season. When we come back, we're going to open up that NFL news book as Aaron Rodgers. Is he a bully, or is he, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to get coaches fired? I don't know how you want to think about it, but I promise you we're going to come back. We're not going to bench Derek. We're not going to bench myself. I don't care what Keith Edmondson says, Derek. We're not benching anybody on this show tonight.
Keith Edmondson told me you got game, man. So when a San Antonio legend tells me that, when I was riding home today, after we left the park today, Julie was like, Keith, so Rudy could play, huh? And I said, hey, that's what I was told. And Keith said when he talked to me that he wouldn't lie about it. So I'm giving you your love, Keith Edmondson. MacArthur High School legend said that Rudy's got some game.
Oh, y'all heard that? Y'all hear that? I'm gonna grab the tissue box because I'm tearing up right now hearing that Keith Edmondson said I could play some basketball. But when we come back, we're gonna open up that NFL bag here, talk some NFL news, get over to some scores, and Cowboy fans, listen up because I talked about it last night. Tough 6-7 game stretch coming up. Can they actually win and go 500 for the season after the stretch? I don't know. We're going to figure it out when we come back. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting, building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Yeah. Number 30, Derek Irvin, do you feel the way? Reppin' UTSA legacy that we create. Didn't rise alone, now it's bigger than me. The whole fam roll, run the blood, running deep. I wear that 30 for the squad, for the dreamers. Running uphill, but faith kept us believers. Gotta grind every minute, every play, it's a test. Chasing dreams, but success demands your very best. Dreams do come true, but they never come free. Every day the risk too, gotta hustle to be the only thing that stop me. The man in the mirror, still reppin' number 30. UTSA, the vision clearer.
2, 1.
Well, as you guys can tell, Derek Irvin doesn't miss anything. If you don't want to miss anything as well, go to YouTube. Search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber today. We're giving away a bunch of prizes and stuff. Be a subscriber today so you don't miss, just like Derek never misses. Subscribe to Sweep the League.
We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger. We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr., Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. Shout out to MCS General Contracting, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. If you need that deck built for the patio, you need the driveway redone, hell, you need to pour the foundation for a brand new home going up, Leha and the boys are going to take care of you at MCS General Contracting. You own a business, you need that parking lot repaved, redone, or just add a parking lot in general. Call them over at MCS General Contracting, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. And yeah, that was the first time I saw the video that Shemaiah made.
Shemaiah, the man. I love it.
Yeah, we did a photo shoot, well, video shoot earlier. Derek and I did a video shoot at a local park, and we had to get some footage for him. And yeah, Shemaiah got it done in, man, record time. That's crazy that he got it done like that.
It's unbelievable, man. I'm gonna have just to make that happen, like you said, it wasn't even that long. That's remarkable. That's a lot of talent. And thank you, Shemaiah. And shout out to you, my man. Your future looks very bright. Yeah,
Shemaiah's future it's so bright we need sunglasses. I'm not gonna lie. That guy's really, really big. But unlike Shemaiah's bright future, Robert Saleh's future is pretty much done in New York. Jets fired Robert Saleh. Apparently he had to be escorted by security.
Oh boy, come on, Rudy.
And then what's funny is that I think he demoted Nathaniel Tackett from offensive coordinator And then 5 minutes later, he was fired. And then he had to be escorted out of the building. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I mean, the writing was on the wall. It was a matter of when it was going to happen. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you're not going to put the full blame on Robert Saleh, but somebody has to, dive onto the sword, is what they say, fall on the sword. It was Saleh, but do you possibly see that the Jets are going to bounce back with a new coach? I mean, hell, there's people wanting Bill Belichick to take over the Jets job again. Let bygones be bygones. Take over the job, Bill. But can we see the Jets rebound now that Saleh is gone?
I don't know, man, because they're basically putting the blame on Saleh, but Aaron is not the same guy. We all know Aaron is 40 years old. Aaron didn't come in early this year, for camp.
Yeah.
So that alone kind of sets him back, puts him back, and they making the coach the scapegoat, man. I don't like that because they kept Nathaniel Hackett, and as we already know, Saleh is not the one picked Nathaniel Hackett. That was the Aaron Rodgers pick.
Yeah.
And so they keep him as the offensive coordinator, and then they make the defensive coordinator interim coach the rest of the year. It has a bad smell, Rudy, because 5 games into the season, it could go either way, of course, but it just doesn't seem right, man. You didn't get a guy a few more weeks. What more do you expect him to do? Aaron is not doing his part. And the coach we know he takes the blame. And then the way they treated him at the end, man, I'm going to tell you what it reminded me of. You remember how they treated Charles Oakley at the Madison Square Garden?
Oh, and the security escorted him out.
Yeah,
James
man,
Dolan.
Love you 1 minute, and then the next minute they're totally disrespecting you like that, telling Spike Lee you can't come in the elevator that the other people come in. And this is a bad smell, man. I know he's been 20-36 in the last few seasons, but what about last year? They weren't talking this same talk. They had Zach Wilson. Come on, man. They gave the guy a chance then, and now all of a sudden they get rid of him. So that it all points to me to Aaron Rodgers. And some of the players didn't seem happy about it. So we'll see how they bounce back, but it doesn't have a good look to me.
What do you think the script says for Aaron Rodgers at the podium? How do you think that goes for him?
The script as far as the rest of the season?
Yeah. Do you think that, I'm pretty sure they've asked Rodgers about it.
Oh, you already know. Come on, man. I was looking today to see was he going to be on. I was going to look today to see was he going to be on Pat McAfee's show or not. And we knew if he wasn't going to tell the truth. But we know Aaron. Aaron's a conniving guy, man. And if you look at it, sometimes you can see that diva. He's got that diva mentality. Even last week when they played, a lot of times he makes mistakes and he sits by himself and he acts like it's the other player's fault, even sometimes when it's his fault.
Yeah.
The reason I think they give Aaron a little leeway is because he did improvise a few times and make some touchdowns. But if you look at overall, he has not been a really good quarterback this year. And I'm sorry to see the coach have to suffer after 5 games in the season.
The biggest talk is, the Jets trying to get Devontae Adams, pair him back up with Aaron Rodgers. I don't mind that deal at all. I think Devontae ends up in New Orleans. That's probably my first option for where he's going to end up.
Especially now.
Especially now. But if he goes to the Jets, does it really solve all the issues if Devontae goes? It's not like Rodgers doesn't have great receivers there. They're not great, but you've got Garrett Wilson, obviously the number 1 receiver there. He would take a backseat to Devontae. The passes have been there. They've been a little off. Like you mentioned, Aaron's not Aaron of old, obviously. So I don't think trading for a Devontae Adams makes a whole lot of sense other than you're just getting another big impact player. It could lead to more wins, but I don't. It's hard for me to imagine them going for Devontae Adams at full steam, especially with a new coach coming in.
Would you want to go through to a situation like that? Now you got the interim coach for the rest of the year, And then after this season, no telling who the coach is going to be. If I'm leaving, I'm already disgruntled playing for one team with the Raiders. Why do I want to go to another team? And I already know that Aaron's there, but Aaron's not the same guy he used to be. So now you got Adams thinking about what's the best option for him right now. And I say right now for him, if it was me, I'm not him, of course, but I think Derek Carr might be a better option right now in the Saints, because I think the Saints team is looking not too bad at all. And we don't know right now with the Jets, man. They already got stuff going on. The Aaron Rodgers show. Here we go again.
Yeah, and the thing with Rodgers is this could be his last year. So if you're
He has won
Devontae,
Super Bowl. The way they treat Aaron Rodgers, you would think that Brady had 7, Belichick 6, what's his name? Charles Haley 5, and you would think Aaron Rodgers has 5. I mean, come on, man. The guy's won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, one Super Bowl. And that's the thing, I'll say with Adams going to the Jets, if I'm the Jets, I'm looking back like, well, wait a minute. We trade for Devontae. Is there really a guarantee that Rodgers is with us after this season? Probably not. I mean, he may retire. So then you've got Devontae's massive contract. Who do you have throwing him the ball? I mean, there's really nobody else. So again, you're right. He goes from one situation to another situation where he's probably going to have Aaron for maybe 12 games total if he's healthy, if Aaron stays healthy. Makes more sense to go to New Orleans.
I watched Mike Tannenbaum talk earlier today, right?
Yeah.
So he was talking about how Robert Saleh should have went and talked to Aaron, and he should have done this. And you know very well, I'm sure he went and talked to Aaron. And Aaron decided to do what Aaron's going to do. He's been to Europe and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So he chose not to show up. But instead of the coach talking to Aaron, isn't that something that falls usually on the general manager?
Exactly. It does. It does.
Okay, so that sounds like they just wanted to get rid of the coach, not give the man a chance to turn the team around. And that's the part I don't like about it when I say it smells funny. That means to me they already had someone else in mind, and that guy might be a guy that used to coach Tom Brady. I know he's dating his 24-year-old, and he wants to get back in the NFL, and he already said that. So that to me has a smell of Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the Bill Belichick era it's on board right now. It's coming up big time.
He's 72, Rudy.
Still has time, man. Still has a lot of time in the NFL, I think. Bill's 72, but Bill does not look 72. And you know what, Derek?
Well,
because he has a 24-year-old girlfriend, Bill's feeling 52 right now. There's no doubt about that. There ain't no doubt about that.
He's riding bikes and all that, just waiting on his opportunity to go to New York, man, and coach this Jets team.
I feel 72. Bill feels 45. If we're switching ages, that's what.
Hey, can I say this quickly? You know what it reminds me of?
What's up?
My brother started his career in the ABA, as you know, playing with Dr. J.
Yeah.
And then he ended up his last year with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Belichick as a coach, has Tom Brady, and then he could have Aaron Rodgers at the end of Aaron's career.
Yeah. True that. True. That's a good statement right there. Can he do much with Rodgers though?
At this point, I don't think you and I could do anything for Aaron. I don't think Lifetime Fitness can. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old, and he's not the most nimble guy. He never has been.
But can Bill get out of Aaron what he got out of Tom? That's the question. Two different players.
No.
Two different players.
No. Tom comes to camp early. If you remember, Tom was getting players together before the season started, right?
Yep.
Aaron's not doing that. Aaron was running around with what's her name at first? Was it Danica Patrick?
Oh man, yeah, it was a while ago, but yeah.
Oh, I don't forget stuff, man. So Aaron's he's got his mind is somewhere else, and then he'll decide he wants to come in and play football. And that's not how the game goes, man. You have to be all in, and I don't think he's all in. I think you have to do what he wants. Like I said, a diva, and if you don't do that, then he pouts. And we've seen it over and over again, and it cost Mike McCarthy his job. And now he cost another coach his job. So in my mind, like you said earlier, he's becoming the coach killer.
Yeah, he's the bully, the coach bully right now. He's bullying a lot of these coaches out of the NFL. But that's what I'm saying. If Bill comes in, I don't know if he can do anything with Rodgers. It's a different mentality. We've seen Bill coach Tom. Tom's got a big ego, but he's got a controlled ego. They work together. I don't know if Bill can have that same kind of relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see it working, man. I don't see it working. Let's get back. Let's get into some NFL games that happened this past week on week 5. The week 5 season's over, Derek. Going over a couple of these games. The worst 5-0 team, the Kansas City Chiefs, beat this New Orleans Saints 26-13 on Monday Night Football. I'm going to get flack for that. I don't really care, but I'm going to get flack for it. They are the worst 5-0 team in the league right now. The best 5-0 team, the Minnesota Vikings, went to London, and London Bridge is falling down on the Jets. They beat them 23-17. And the other game I wanted to ask you about was the Ravens and the Bengals, man. Joe Burrow's been putting up, monster numbers, but they don't equal the wins. Safe to say that the Bengals are probably going to not make the playoffs this year.
1-4. Well, I will give them some credit for the 509 yards, but as you know, it's about when you get those important yards, and they don't move the chains very well in the fourth quarter, man. And if you look at it, this was a giveaway game. They gave that game away.
Yeah.
There was no way the Ravens should even had a chance to win that game. So you do all that stuff, and then you run plays, man. You got a guy who threw for 509 yards, and you got a chance to seal the game, basically. You do 3 running plays in a row. And then so you barely get any yardage, and then you make the guy have to come in and kick. I believe it was like a 49-yard field goal that he missed.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand how you could have 509 yards and not let the man throw the ball one time out of 3 downs. So
well, the 509 was
lost.
The 509 was Kirk Cousins. Joe Burrow had 390. He had almost at
390,
yeah.
but he was moving the ball.
Yeah, he was.
And he had 4 touchdowns, if I'm correct.
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns. Okay.
Yeah, he's been balling.
So
Joe
Burrow's
Burrow's
5 touchdowns, but you don't let him throw. Out of 3 plays, you run the ball basically up the middle 3 times in a row. You gain a few yards, and then you put all that pressure on the kicker, and we know the rest was history. They win the game. What's his name? Derrick Henry broke one for like 51 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to say any more after that.
The Bengals are in a tough spot right now.
1-4, right?
Yeah, 1-4. They're playing good on offense. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're going to be able to make.
I can't rule them out though, Rudy, because the Steelers are playing like I expected earlier. When I told you when they were 3-0, they were scoring 17 points a game. And I told you I do not, and I repeat, I do not believe in Justin Fields. And then we got this team with this guy named Deshaun Watson, who had a 8.5. Yes, people, I said that. 8.5 quarterback rating. Are you kidding? And that's his second, and that's not even his worst of the year. He had an 8.3 quarterback rating earlier in the season. So by default, the Bengals might still have a chance.
Man, Deshaun Watson quit on the Browns this past weekend. I'm telling everybody now, in Cleveland, if you're the Browns organization, you tell that guy to take a hike and just keep walking.
Yeah.
Don't bother coming to practice. Don't bother going to games. You have Jameis Winston there. Just start Jameis. He cares a lot more than Deshaun does. Deshaun just needs to go.
Rudy, he's been awful. It's not that he's been mediocre or bad. He's been worse than bad. He's been absolutely awful.
And you saying he's been awful is a compliment because he's been worse than awful this year. He's I mean, the guy, I would dare to say the guy would struggle in college football right now.
He make Bryce Young right now look like Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah. But Bryce Young looks like Steve Young right now with Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's how bad it is for Deshaun. The guy quit this past weekend. And it needs to be said that he needs to go. Forget it. I don't
Why do they
care.
keep forcing him? You know, it's about if they get rid of him or something, they still have to pay him like what 80-something million or something.
Yeah, his contract's guaranteed, and no team's going to trade for him.
To give him a guaranteed 5-year contract for $230 million, you look at it now, that is absolutely ludicrous. I know he was playing well with the Texans, but if you look at him now, I can't think of a worse quarterback in the league from top to bottom. That's Minshew. That's whoever you may put at the bottom. I have Deshaun right now out of 32 teams. I have him as the 32nd ranked quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. One thing I won't argue with on either is that I'm going to do my best Geo impression. Caleb Williams had 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. The kid can play football. He's the next big thing in football. The Bears are on the path right now. They're 3-2. I told you Caleb's going to be good. And then I'm going to say the little bit at the end. It was against the Panthers. Come on, man. I mean, Caleb, if you can't put up numbers against the Panthers, Deshaun Watson could probably put up numbers against the Panthers. I mean, that's how bad they are. But Caleb Williams did good. He played great. But can you really measure it over the
pretty decent stats? 15 yards a catch or whatever. He played good for considering the competition. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's a barometer we can go by. We have to see him against a real competition.
Yeah, definitely. Your Bills ended up losing to the Texans. It was a good game. It was a close game. Josh Allen only threw for 131 yards and a touchdown.
9 for 30. I can't believe it. 30%. And they kept talking about after he had that hard fall. But if you remember, he was not playing well before that hard fall. He was playing awful as well. And when last time you remember a quarterback going 9 for 30, Rudy? I mean, come on, man. 30% percentage rate.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that in a long time. I mean, I don't even know if Jamarcus Russell was that bad. And that's been a pretty bad.
Oh, you know, was Deshaun? Has Deshaun been 30%?
I have no idea, man. That is bad. Jaguars get their first win over the Colts. And the only thing I took away from the Colt and Jaguar game is what you and I talked about. Joe Flacco goes for 359 and 3 touchdowns. There's got to be a point where you don't want to rush Anthony Richardson back because you seem to be a better team with Joe Flacco on the field.
Yeah.
So if you want to make the playoffs, by all means, I would leave Joe Flacco in. But if you want to compete to make for the playoffs, then you want to start Anthony Richardson. Richardson is not Jaden Daniels.
No.
Obviously.
No.
So what do you do in that spot? Do you stick with Joe Flacco?
Flacco moves the chains, Rudy. I mean, if you look at him, you know how we always talk about when the game slows down for some players?
Yeah.
People have to remember Flacco is a proven winner already. He's done it at the highest level. And you look at him play, the game changes when he comes on the field. And it kind of reminded me how Kirk Cousins was when he was moving around a little bit. When he came in the game, I'm going to tell you who Flacco is to me right now. And he on a better, higher level, though, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Because when you bring in a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Nick Foles, they did improve the team. And you look at Joe Flacco, man, he's not playing. He plays younger than he actually is. And if I'm the team, I'm really looking at Anthony Richardson, and I'm trying to evaluate if this is our quarterback of the future. But if I want to salvage this season, I'll go with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You got to go with Joe Flacco. Richardson, it brings the excitement, but he also brings the injury concern left and right. When he was drafted, the biggest thing I had on my draft card when it came to Anthony Richardson was injuries. He's very frail, and you've seen that already in 2 seasons, rookie season and this season. Very injury prone. I mean, kid can get hot, but I mean, you can't do anything if you can't stay on the field. Skip over the Dolphins and Patriots. That was bad. But Gio called me out when I told him I took the Cardinals over the Niners. Cardinals beat the Niners, man, 24-23. I don't care how it was. They ended up winning. Brock Purdy, the game manager, is that what we're calling him? 244 yards, 1 touchdown.
Hey, look, man, Rex Ryan said he's Drew Brees.
Drew Brees?
Rex Ryan said on national television this past weekend that if you want to compare Brock Purdy, and he told all those guys on the set that you're looking at Drew Brees, and he said it with emphasis, Drew Brees.
Do you think he was saying Drew Brees with emphasis? Maybe because he was thinking about Drew Brees, but meant to say Drew Bledsoe? He might have meant to say Drew Bledsoe, man.
I like Brock, man, but come on. But Rudy, you got to say, though, their whole team, if you look at all their main offensive players, pretty much beat up. And then you still got your guy who was third in MVP voting out, no Christian McCaffrey. It just looks like they have no rhythm right now. We haven't been hearing Debo's name, Brandon Ayuk. Those guys, they're going to get better and get healthier as the season goes on. George Kittle, all those guys have had injuries at some point. So I'm just not gonna jump off the wagon, I'll say, for the 49ers. I think they're still gonna salvage their season, and I think they're gonna get better. But they couldn't stop that little guy from running, man. Kyler was looking like Barry Sanders out there on a few of those runs.
Yeah, Kyler was looking good, man. Another good guy that's looking, actually two guys that are looking good. Bo Nix, 206 and 2 touchdowns.
Whoa.
And he
Forget
won an
the
argument.
yards for a second. I want you to talk about the situation.
I was just gonna say he won. He got another win. Say the Broncos were 3-2, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 victory over Sean Payton when it came to the argument. He stood up to Sean Payton. Something that Rex Ryan's boy Drew Brees told Bo Nix at one point and told the media, like, you've got to stand up to Sean. That's what he wants to see. And Bo Nix got in his face and stood up to him. And I applaud the kid for doing
Rudy,
that.
the part I didn't like about it, and we already know Sean, he did one thing people can never say is that he's prejudiced.
Yeah.
Because some people felt that way last year about when he was dealing with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But he has history of dealing with his quarterbacks like that. The only problem I had was this. When you put the hand on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they could have went in a different direction. And you can tell Bo didn't like it. And what Sean has to remember is Bo is not a kid. Bo is, 24 years old?
Yeah.
So there's a certain conduct that's expected, just like they expected from the players. When are we going to start holding the coaches accountable, man? I mean, come on. This is a grown man you're talking about, a man that's playing for his livelihood. And guys are not going to be talked any kind of way by a coach, especially when you start putting your hands on them. And I had a problem with them not addressing that. And I'm talking about the Denver Bronco organization not coming out and dealing with Sean Payton as far as putting his hands on players. That should never happen.
Yeah, that should never, ever happen here. Tim Gonzalez in here. He's about talking about Big Texas Comic-Con. Would I challenge Sting, the wrestler Sting, to a match? Probably, because Sting's old now.
Bowling.
And bowling, definitely not in wrestling. There's no way, man. Packers take care of the Rams. Rams are just, bad right now. Tons of injuries. That's not a surprise there. But another guy that's looking good. And I'm telling you, last night, Derek, when on the show, I said, you know what? Ever since I called this guy out and I said, you know what? Kyler Murray is the best quarterback in that draft class. Ever since that day, I think Daniel Jones heard me and he's turned it up a notch. He's been looking like a quarterback. Against Seattle, he goes for 257 and 2 touchdowns. Another win for the New York Giants since I've called them out. Daniel Jones is looking good. I called his ass out, and he's actually performing now, man.
They winning. I mean, if you look at the way they played in the last, I'll say even when they lost a couple of games in the last few weeks, right? You could see the team getting better. And so maybe Daniel has heard all the cat calls, man. And at some point, Rudy, you just go out and you just go for it. You don't care what the media says. You don't care what the fans says, what they say. You just go out and play. And that does happen. And it look like right now Daniel Jones is playing well and the rest of the team is following his lead.
And, they did that without Malik Neighbors. So, I mean, kudos to the Giants. They put off a really good victory.
We get Gio a shout out because we know he likes that Daniel Jones.
That's probably why Gio has been MIA the past couple of nights because he doesn't want to
He's
hear
celebrating Daniel Jones.
he doesn't want to hear the Daniel Jones talk. Sunday night ended with the Cowboys and Steelers and went into the late evening hours due to a lightning storm. But in a game back and forth, Cowboys end up getting the win at the end, 20-17 over the Steelers. Yeah, everybody was on the Dak Prescott type of thing, man. I mean, they were, Dak this, Dak that. Why is it always different? When they lose, Dak's at fault. When they win, Dak's a warrior. Dak's, doing this. You got to pick a side, man. I mean, you're either with Dak or you're against him.
The guy who was a warrior is the guy who saved that fumble at the goal line, retrieved that fumble.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys were on their way to a defeat. And you look at it, it did come down to a fourth down. Dak made a really good play at the end. But let's be honest. The Cowboys right now, do they even look like a contending team? They didn't look like one to me with Michael Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. So the kid Dowdle ran the ball pretty good, or Dowdell, whatever it may be. He ran the ball pretty good, but overall, they don't look like a contending team right now.
Yeah, and Thursday we're going to go over the Cowboys' schedule for pretty much the remainder of the year, but their next 6-7 games, Derek, this is going to determine whether they make the playoffs or not.
Playoffs?
I mean, if
playoffs?
they do make the
kidding me?
playoffs, as Jim Moore is wondering about playoffs there, they've got the Lions, they've got the Niners, they've got the Eagles and the Texans, just to name a few teams right there. They've got Murderers Row. They've even got the Commanders, and they got the Giants again.
The Giants, the 6th game, yeah.
People were talking like, they handled the Giants. It was 15-10. That's not handling the Giants, in my opinion. And by the time they get to the Giants, they would have had 6 games against top teams in the NFL. So you're giving the Giants roughly 6-7 weeks to get ready for a Cowboy team. If they keep playing the way they are, that Giants game is not going to be an easy task at all. But can we easily say that the Cowboys need to go minimum 500 on these next
6-5? I can see them being 6-5 after that Giants game. And people in Texas, San Antonio might get upset about it, but it's our job to be honest and go by what we see.
Yeah.
They don't look very impressive. And then you know who they play this coming week. My hometown, born and raised. So we're going to see what they look like against the Lions. The Lions have continued to get better. And we know Dallas's biggest weakness is stopping the run. Yeah. And what team has the best 2 running? We got a combination running backs with Mr. Gibbs and Mr. Montgomery. So we're going to find a lot out about the Cowboys this coming week. And I'm not going to be biased because it's my home team, but it's going to be this is going to be a good test for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, it's going to be a great test for the Cowboys because you're coming off of a good victory over the Steelers, a hard-fought victory, yes, but you're getting a Lions team that is rested coming off their bye. So they're going to be hungry. How good is the Cowboy-Lions game going to be? We're going to preview that this week on Thursday or Friday. Remember, Friday night's our pick'em night. Actually, here's the thing. Before we go, I got to let everybody know about this. So Friday night show, we're planning to still do it about 9 o'clock, but we are doing Big Texas Comic-Con. So it might be 9:30 before we get to the show, but it will happen Friday for our pick'em show. Thursday should be normal. Now tomorrow, as of right now, we're going to make the announcement. Tomorrow night, we are planning to have Hofstra men's basketball coach and former NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs, Mr. Craig Speedy Claxton, is planning to join the show tomorrow for myself, for Derek, and hopefully Coach Gio. So, as of right now, we're looking to have Speedy Claxton on the show tomorrow. We're going to talk to him about his NBA run with the San Antonio Spurs in their title year. Talk to him about how he's doing at Hofstra as men's basketball coach. We're going to just talk everything. You guys got questions, drop them on the stream. We'll get to as many as we can when it comes to Speedy Claxton. Of course, we're going to talk old school NBA as we do with everybody that comes on the show. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun show, Derek, with Speedy Claxton.
You know, he helped. He was a big part of winning that championship in 2003. And I posted on Facebook about who was one of the main cogs in us winning off the bench. And one of my friends said Kevin Willis.
That
but
was
they
me.
only said, well, they said Kevin. That was you. But you know, I played against Kevin in high school. I don't know if you know. Yeah. But to have Speedy on, I'm very excited. He knows you're a fan. I've told him about how you've talked about him, and it's going to be fun, man. We could get to kind of rehash the 2003 year when Tony Parker was a young fellow. Wasn't that Tony's rookie year, I believe? And so to get the chance to talk to Speedy, and we get to learn some more things about how Pop handled Tony Parker as well.
Yeah, it's going to be another great interview. We've had a lot of the listeners talk to me, shoot me DMs about our last few interviews with Mario Ellie and Pete Babcock. They're loving it. They're loving the guests that we have on the show. Going to continue our guest series. It's going to be with Speedy Claxton. We have another guest on deck that we're still waiting to get confirmation. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have confirmation. It's just a lot of people up and right. So we appreciate everybody's support. We're over 600 subscribers on YouTube. We're trying to get to that first 1,000, and then we're trying to get to 10,000. So that can happen. I know that's going to happen pretty quick here. So remember, you're going to catch us this weekend at Big Texas Comic Con. We're going to be streaming live there. We're going to be doing a lot of videos. We're going to be posting a lot of videos. So be sure to go to our YouTube page, search at Sweep the League TV on YouTube, be a subscriber. So that way you can get all the notifications this week. If you are going to Big Texas Comic Con, go see us. Go see us. Grab that Derek Gervin autograph before he goes in the Hall of Fame, because
I get to talk about the Karate Kid and my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, Karate Kid. Man, Ralph Macchio is going to be there. The Outsiders. I mean, he was in The Outsiders. He was in My Cousin Vinny, Cobra Kai, The Karate Kid. Man, what else? He was in a lot of other stuff.
A lot of stuff, but I'm hey, Vinny, man, I've watched that probably 20 times.
That's going to be awesome, man. So be sure to join us this weekend, Big Texas Comic Con. Tomorrow, we're hoping to have, tomorrow we're looking to have Speedy Claxton on the show to talk to you guys and us here at Sweep the League. So for Derek Gervin, for Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr., until we see you guys tomorrow, we'll talk to you later, knuckleheads.
Everybody have a good night. Stay safe.
Are you a hockey fan looking for the latest on the Edmonton Oilers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and NHL news of the week? Barry and Carson Best bring it all to you on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. They break down games, provide insider updates, and keep you up to speed every week. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join their hockey family.
Welcome to the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast, where spirited debates and open discussions reign supreme. Join hosts Rudy and Shemaya as they dive headfirst into the hottest topics in politics and beyond. They're all about seeking common ground without losing their passion for their perspectives. If you're ready for real talk and honest opinions, subscribe now and join the conversation.
Spurs fans, are you ready to stay ahead of the game of the San Antonio Spurs with the best coverage in the business? Tune in to Locked On Spurs, the daily podcast that brings you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and all the latest news and updates for your silver and black. Join Jeff Garcia, the most informative and entertaining host in the game, as he breaks down all Spurs news and notes, interviews the biggest names, and keeps you locked into all things Spurs. From Monday to Friday, get ready to start your day with the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out on the expert opinions, the hot takes, and the can't-miss guests. Make sure you're locked in with Locked On Spurs. Subscribe to their YouTube channel now and stay ahead of the game all season long. Locked On Spurs. It's the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out.
Yeah. Number 30, Derek Gervin, do you feel the way? Reppin' UTSA legacy that we create. Didn't rise alone, Nah, it's bigger than me. The whole fam roll, run the blood running deep. I wear that 30 for the squad, for the dreamers. Running uphill, but faith kept us believers. Gotta grind every minute, every play, it's a test. Chasing dreams, but success demands your very best. Dreams do come true, but they never come free. Every day the race too, gotta hustle to be the only thing that stop me. The man in the mirror, still repping number 30. UTSA, the vision clear.
2, 1.
Well, as you guys can tell, Derek Gervin doesn't miss anything. If you don't want to miss anything as well, go to YouTube. Search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber today. We're giving away a bunch of prizes and stuff. Be a subscriber today so you don't miss, just like Derek never misses. Subscribe to Sweep the League.